Yo YouTube! This is a video for Monday the 19th of February and it's today, so today is the same day that I'm doing the video for a change because it's still light and I've got the last job of the day, so I can tell you about my day now. So let's start from this morning. I had from Friday a job booked in going from Corby to Northampton, and I wanted to try. Corby is on my home location. It's quite a long way away from my home location, but I thought I'd give it a go as a pickup point. It's 40 dead miles from my house, and it ended up being about an hour's trip to get there, and the trip itself was alright. It was quite nice countryside, quite easy to drive, and I would do it again because the work is often quite busy out of Corby or around that area. So I arrived at my pickup point at 9:15. I was due to take, I didn't know what it was actually, but it was from a manufacturing place to another depot of the same company, but in Northampton. It was actually a printer's, and they needed a long wheelbase van, which is obviously what I costed it on, and the loaded miles was 21 loaded miles, and I bid £60 on Friday, and I got that job pretty quickly. So the way I look at it is it's 40 dead miles plus 21 miles loaded. That's 61 miles for £60, and it gets me out of my home area into a good part of the country to get work from. Now, I haven't ever tried to get a job from Northampton. Yeah, the trip from Corby to Northampton was really easy. I was offloaded and ready to look for another job by 10:15. I was able to utilise the toilets of the people I delivered to, and they had the best toilets I've ever used. Very, very plush toilets indeed. And I told them I was impressed with their toilets as well before I left. And then I was sat outside, that was an industrial estate, I sat outside on like a residential street and looked for work. So this was from about 10:15ish. I was looking for work, and there was loads of work in Northampton. I was quite surprised at how close other towns were as well. So like I knew that NN, I knew that Kettering and Corby were NN postcodes, but they were both within reach. If I remember correctly, Milton Keynes was within reach. Cambridge wasn't, no, not Cambridge. Wellingborough was within reach, and Banbury was within reach. So there's a lot of, and all those places had jobs coming out of them. So I was bidding on quite a lot of jobs. I wasn't going low, I was going at what I wanted the job for, and there was a job that came up going from a really decent company. I've worked for them before, and it was going from NN4, which is about 15 minutes away, by about 10 miles. No, it was about 6 miles, about 12 minutes away. I was going to Swindon, and they put on there pays £65. So I did a load of bids, and then I put on that bid £70 because I didn't really want to go Swindon way. I was trying to avoid London if I could. There were lots of London jobs as well, but I was prepared to go to London at the end of the day if I did something else first. There was a job from Corby back to the Spalding area, which would have been quite good, but it was 3 o'clock pickup. So I couldn't wait till then. And there was a few jobs, 2 or 3 jobs that were afternoon pickups that were advertised at sort of 10:30 in the morning. Anyway, I got a call at 11 o'clock for the job, so I put on about 10 bids, and I got the job offered to me from Northampton to Swindon, but they wanted to pay me £65. And so I double checked how far away it was from the pickup, and it was pretty close. And I thought to myself, well, I've been here for 45 minutes so far, I may as well take this job. Maybe Swindon won't be as bad as I think it's going to be when I get there. I don't think it's a good place to get a job from. There's lots of drivers there. I've been there once before and I didn't like it very much in terms of getting work away from there. But anyway, I thought I'd do the job, and then the lady reminded me it was 1 o'clock pickup, and I hadn't noticed it was 1 o'clock pickup. It was my error, and so I just said I can't wait for 2 hours, and at £65 I have to go back to my £70 original bid if I'm going to wait that long. It just didn't feel like it was fair for me to wait for that long and to go to a badged area for that money. And so, as is their right, they chose to not give me the job. So at this point I was thinking, oh, was that a mistake? Have I turned down, like I've always said to myself, a bird in the hand with this job is worth two in the bush. So I was now sitting there at 11 o'clock, I just got 11, thinking I've got 2 hours now to find a decent job, otherwise I've really messed up here. But I was pretty confident I'd get something because there's a lot of jobs around. There's around about 26 or so active drivers, I would say, in and around Northampton. It didn't seem to go down very much over the hour or so I was there. Anyway, I did get another job, and this was at 11:25 I got the call, so it was just over an hour I was waiting looking for jobs, and it was a job going from a place called Bugbrook, a village called Bugbrook, going to Arsley. I'd never heard of either place. On the Google Maps, Bugbrook was 10 miles from where I was, and the loaded miles was 47. So again, I bid £60. It was for a small van, and I got it the job. I got the job reasonably quickly. I was picking up from a residential address, and in the end, it was delivered to another residential address. So I will tell you a bit about that experience, because it's just something that can go wrong, I suppose. But for me, it wasn't really anything went wrong. It's just part of the job. So I had a phone number for both the pickup person and the drop-off person, and I could tell from the addresses that they were likely to be residential addresses. I wasn't certain, but it was likely to be. So I eventually did find the pickup address. It wasn't very obvious, but I did get the right address eventually, and then picked up the item. I've got the guy to sign my own cards because there was no paperwork that I could have, and I made my way. It was about an hour's worth of driving to Arsley, and about 20 minutes away I rang the customer on the mobile number that I had for the delivery point, and there was no answer, and I didn't leave a message because that's pointless. So I left it for 5 minutes and rang again. There was no answer, and so I just made my way there. I'd get to the place. The sat-nav took me to what turned out to be exactly the right building, but the entrance to get to the building, which was a house, wasn't an office. I had to go out of where Google Maps told me, around the corner and up a drive, and then press a bell like a gate. So I did that. That was no big hassle. That reminded me of my multi-drop days. And as it was, when I got to the gates, there was no answer. So I was calling the shipper at this point, because I tried ringing the customer. I was calling the shipper, and as I was doing that, a car came down the drive and opened the gate for me. So as the shipper asked me, as the shipper answered the phone, I said, I'm sorted now, I'll call you back. And I delivered it. And then I went in, spoke to the lady that let me in. It wasn't for her. I just double checked with her, it was a residential address. How would I get back out if there was no one there? And she said the gate opens automatically. In my previous job, I have been in situations where I've got into a gated area and not been able to get out again, which can be very frustrating. Particularly when you're trying to rush around doing loads of deliveries at a time. But so I did ask her that, and that was fine. got myself to the door of the house, and I could see a little girl and what I'm assuming was her mother, and I'm assuming was the customer, in the back garden of this house. I could see through the house. It was quite a big house and quite a biggish garden. And I got the item out, put it by the front door, and I knocked on the door. There was no bell to ring at the door. I was knocking on the door, and at this point, this is where I got called out to over the fence where I'd previously driven up to from the sat-nav. And it was an Amazon delivery driver asking me how I got to where I was to get to deliver to number 3, and I was at number 4. So I just told him to go round, and it was all fine. But yeah, so I was knocking on the door, I rang the number again, no answer. I went to the window to try and see if I could get their attention by waving, but they'd moved on to another part of the garden by this point. So then I had to, at this point, ring the shipper again. My plan was going to be to get permission to leave the item by the front door, because I was certain... Oh no, before I did that, sorry, I went to the neighbour at number 3, which had a garden bordering the garden next door, and I was going to, if they were in, ask them to just shout over the fence that I was there, but there was no one in at number 3. I could have tried going to number 2, but I don't think they would have been able to shout across. I think it would have been silly to shout across 2 gardens. So I went back to my plan of ringing the shipper, and as I called the shipper, he answered the phone. Someone came down the stairs, a gentleman, to the front door. So he must have been working from home, and he took the item off me. So I told the shipper again, I'll ring it back, I'm okay now. And I got the item delivered, signed for, photograph taken at the door, and off. And then I was off the site. But I mean, for me, that isn't a problem. That's just dealing with a delivery. You know, I'm sure there might be some people getting really upset and angry and frustrated about that. But there's a load of solutions you can try before you do that. I mean, yeah. So it wasn't really an issue. It just something I wanted to share with you for that delivery. And so I'd finished that delivery and was now looking for another job. I parked, I went down the drive. I did ring the shipper back and just explain why I'd kept calling him, and that was all sorted now. Because every time he answered the phone call, I'd got like the gate opened or the guy came to the door, so I had to sort of hang up quickly. So I wanted to make reassuring that I wasn't just messing about. Anyway, so I got out of the gate, which opened it easy enough, parked on the drive either side of the gate and looked for a job. It would have been approximately, let me think, about 2 o'clock-ish, I'm guessing, at this point. And so I was looking for jobs. There were, you know, jobs around, but I was sort of closer to London now than I had been previously, and a lot of the work was going into central London. And I was thinking, I don't really want to do that. But should I do it? Because it's the last job of the day. But it still was only about 2 o'clock, so I had the chance to kind of get a few jobs. So in the end, I decided that I would drive towards the A1M and perch up sort of just before that road. And I found myself a lay-by just before that road. I put more bids on, lots of bids on, and I got a call back at 2:51 from a bid that I put on at 2:50. So really quick response. And the guy gave me a call and offered me a job. I said, can you give me the postcode of the pickup point, because I'm quite a long way from it. I just want to make sure I've sort of estimated correctly, because I'd estimated an hour. And I put this out of it. It was 50 minutes. And I was picking up from RAF Wittering on basically just exactly up the A1M. So I'm glad I moved slightly towards the A1M. And it was picking up, and I had to be there before 4 o'clock. And I was due to be there if I went straight away at 10 to 4. So I had very little leeway. Now, in my previous job, I have been to RAF Wittering quite a few times, as I have other air bases, and so they've got me on file. So I knew I'd saved some time when I got there. When I sort of, I mean, if you don't know how air bases work, when you arrive to the guardhouse, you show them some ID Some will only insist upon a British driver being allowed on base. Some will be more flexible if you've got a driving licence. But I wouldn't want to risk it if you were a foreign driver trying to get on an airbase. So probably best to not take the jobs unless you know for sure they'll let you on. Some air bases will, if it's a small item, will bring the stuff to the gate for you to take, but I don't like doing that. I prefer just to go to the customer directly because it's a bit more of a better service. Once you're in the guardhouse, they give you a lanyard with a photograph of you and a badge, a temporary badge to get on site, and you get a secondary sort of piece of paper to put in your van to show that it's the date, your van reg. So what you do is you tell them your van reg, you tell them who you work for, and you show them your driving licence. And if you're the first time on the base, they will take a photo and put you in their system, and then next time you go on, it's slightly easier. Some bases will only escort you. You have to go on escorted, and some air bases you can go on if you've been on before unescorted, which is what happened to me today. I was unescorted today because I had been there a few times. I'm guessing if it's my first time there, they might not have let me on unescorted. But because I've been there several times before in my previous job, I just told them I'd changed my employer. I told them the name of the company I was working for today rather than my previous one. They changed it on the system, and then I was on. So didn't have any. Point I'm saying that I didn't have any delay. I was probably in 2 or 3 minutes in the guardhouse to get my badges, my passes. Then I was off, and then going to the hangar. If I'd had to do the whole thing from scratch, I may not have made it by 4 o'clock. When I got to the hangar, I sort of guessed where I should park. It's obviously they're very big places. The parking was more at the side, so I parked at the side and I walked around, found an open door, walked inside, went to the front of the building, just sort of said, I'm here to do a collection, can you help me? And the lady who was on reception, well, it was really an office, not a reception, went to the back and found the guy. I told them my reference number, and the guy gave me the park box. He was really nice, and I said to him, could you sign a blank POD for me? I'll fill out the rest of it for collection, but I didn't want him to sort of be wasting his time waiting for me to fill it all out, because there was no paperwork for a proof of delivery that I could keep. The only paperwork was with the parcel itself. Right, I've actually deliberately not told you what I'm taking and where yet, because it's a bit of a classic delivery man, if there is such a thing. People who know me will be able to guess immediately what I'm doing. So the job I've got is 369 miles loaded. It was 50 dead miles to pick it up. It's going from RAF Wittering to St Andrews in Fife. There's an RAF base up there that I'm going to. It's a tiny little part for a repair that they need for tomorrow. And the box is in the cab with me. I've got a completely empty loading bay, loading cabin, and it's really light. And it's so I'm going to Scotland. £350, 350 I bid on that job. It's a small van, so if you included the dead miles, it's 420 miles, let's say, rounding it up, for 350. But and I'm happy with that, because combine it with what I did this morning, it's not a bad day. Now, that's not the best bit about this. For me, anyway, because I rang the customer number I've got for this delivery, and I thought it was the pickup guy, because I was ringing and saying I'll be with you in 10 minutes when I was on my way to RF Wittering. It's actually the drop-off guy that I rang, and he said to me that he had got the guard room to agree to accept the parcel, which is really rare for any kind of RAF base. I think it might be a disused RAF base. It's more of an industrial area rather than literally Ministry of Defence, but I'm not certain about it. The address is RAF. I can't say it. I won't even try to say it. It's not Lossiemouth, that's Inverness, but it's one that's by St Andrews. It begins with an L. I don't want to mangle it. Anyway, my plan is to go straight to that guardhouse now and pass that parcel to them and then finish the delivery. I'm meant to be there for 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, if I can get this delivered tonight, that gives me a lot more options in the morning. I could be looking for work for the morning now, for example, which is probably too late. It's 5:10 now, but I will do that. I'll do a future journey from there. But it means I'm free to pick up anything really early in the morning if I need to. So I feel really, and it's just in principle, I love the idea that we've communicated with the customer. He's spoken to the security guard, and that security guard's willing to take the parcel. So it sort of helps everyone. They get the part as soon as he walks into that base. That engineer's going to get that part, and he knows it's there. I send a text to him when it's there, so he'll know it's there before he gets to work. The security guard doesn't have much responsibility. I know most of them won't do it, but in this case, I should let him out, shouldn't I? The car on the left. I'm going to go now. That car should have been going faster than that. Anyway, the security guard in this case, taking a parcel, putting it in his office overnight is not a big deal, but most of them won't do that. So in terms of, because of the communication that happened, it might be that we end up with a smooth transfer of an important parcel from the collection point to the delivery point with no wasted time in between. So I'm reasonably hopeful, and to be honest, I'm pleased mainly because of the principle of it. I love the fact that we're working together as a team. We've got the person that signed my POD that pick up, the person that answered the phone, which is the customer at the other end, the guard, the security guard, and myself. The four of us have worked as a little mini team to get this in part from one part of the country to literally another country ASAP to help a repair of I imagine a fighter aircraft. I don't know what it is. I think it's going to be an aircraft of some sort. So just the way I see this as being another aspect which is good about this job. So I'm on my way to Scotland up the east coast of England. I need to let him out. So I'm basically just on the A1M now. If you don't know, RAF Wittering is on the A1M, and that A1M goes north up the east coast, and then they'll meet, I don't know which road it'll meet another road. I'm going to run the coast road. I remember this way into Scotland has a really scenic over mountain sort of crossing point over the border, and I love this side of the journey up to Scotland, but unfortunately it's going to be very dark when I do it, so I won't have any great visuals to share, but I might just stop and take a photo or something. I don't know, maybe I won't. It'll be dark. I'll probably be knackered by then anyway. I'll just keep going. So my ETA is 11:30 at St Andrews, and if I do get this parcel offloaded, then I'm free to look for a job in Scotland for the morning or for tomorrow. And my plan will be to right, let me pause. I'm aware that I won't get a job from Scotland back down south for the price that I'm prepared to do the job for. It's pointless me even trying to hope for that now. I am generally an optimist, but I've learned that Scotland doesn't pay English drivers going south anything like what you should get, and I suppose Scottish drivers coming out of Scotland going down to England doesn't pay them what they deserve to get. So I'm probably prepared, or I'm prepared, and I'm looking forward to doing a day in Scotland tomorrow. Just poo around, earn some money within Scotland, and then as I'm doing that, sort of work my way back down either Wednesday or latterly on Tuesday evening. So I'm looking to tramp out no more than 2 nights, that's tonight and tomorrow night, and be home at the latest by Wednesday evening. And we'll see how the whole trip pans out as monetary wise. I'm not going to give any stats for today because I haven't finished. I mean, I don't know for sure that I'm going to get this parcel delivered today. I mean, who knows? I might get to the guardhouse and someone there who's a different shift, they refuse to take it. So let me just double check that I do get delivered today. If I do get delivered today, then I'll do the stats in my next video tomorrow, first thing for today as a single day. But other than that, I'll average out the days in Scotland as a sort of trip in itself. And I think what's probably wise for me to do, what I'm going to do this time, I did it last time, I'm going to do it again, is I'm going to ignore the 2 jobs this morning that I did and just take this job I'm doing now as the start of my Scottish trip. So I'll sort of do stats for each day, but I'll also do stats for the Scotland experience. Yeah, so I'm getting to get used to Scotland a bit more. I don't have any contacts in Scotland, to be fair. To them, I'll just be another English driver trying to get home. But this particular job is with a Scottish shipper that I'm doing today. So I might sort of ping them a note saying I'm here now. Do you have any jobs for tomorrow? Actually, maybe I should do that now after this video. Might give them a call and say on my way up. Anything for tomorrow, let me know. But I'm probably basically I've decided I'm going to do a day in Scotland and just see how it goes. Yeah, so I think I'll bring it to. Oh no, I was going to talk about. Yes, you forgot to tell me, didn't you? I asked you to remind me about negative YouTube comments, and you didn't tell me that. I had to remember that myself. Oh, for goodness sake, I do myself, don't I? So, before I'll prefix this little ramble that I'm going to do next, because I don't really have a clear idea as to what I want to say, but I've got a few little things that I want to get out. I may have said this before, this next bit, but the reason why this YouTube channel works well for me is I do not like being seen, do not being looked at. And this is a way in which I can be heard without needing to sacrifice the need to be seen. And so it's really quite what's the word? There is a word I'm trying to think of. Freeing for me to sort of express myself more openly and honestly than I might do it, face to face with someone. And so the reason why I mention that is I'm generally a pretty positive person, pretty optimistic, just naturally. I don't really try to be, I just naturally am, and I think I feel quite lucky to be that way. I mean, I have my ups and downs like we all do. I have my anxiety issues like we all do, and I've shared most of them with you. But I think that one of the things that I would like to sort of, I suppose, to some extent complain about, but it's not really a complaint because I can't do anything about it. It's more of sharing. What I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to be heard. That's it. I'm trying to be heard about something that's come up off the back of me doing YouTube, and I'll try and express it in a coherent way without feeling like sounding like I'm moaning. And it's about negative comments through the YouTube channel, and I'm just going to make some observations about it, I think, more than anything else. And just sometimes it confuses me as to the purpose of them. And I can make some assumptions and make some guesses. And I suppose what I'm doing is if I share those guesses and assumptions, then maybe I get some feedback about whether I'm right or not. So the first thing that I've noticed, and doesn't that? Oh yeah, right. First caveat. my brain is buzzing with things that I've got to remember to say. First caveat, I don't actually get a lot of negative comments. When I started the YouTube channel, I was really reticent about opening myself up to ridicule and sort of bullying and trolling. And to be fair, I have to be honest, I don't feel I get that. I don't feel that there's any trolling on my channel. And I do get negative comments, and some of those comments I don't understand. I don't understand the rationale for them, but I think it's just a different perspective. Someone's view is different to mine, and that's how I don't see it. Right, so the caveat is I don't get a lot of it, and most of what I get is positive. Most of what I get is informative. Most of what I get is the same people coming back and sharing their views. Often I think people share views when they've got something to say, which is exactly what I think the comments are useful for. Anyway, so first thing I noticed, some people, it's rare, but some people do the following. They put a comment on and then they delete it. It doesn't happen very often, but that's weird, I think. I don't understand that. It's like they want to be critical. They want me to know that they don't like what I've said, but they don't want everyone else to know they've said it. So that's a weird one. I don't get that. Doesn't happen a lot, but it's happened. The second thing that I've noticed is I don't like it. Oh yeah, this. So I'm gonna shout out. Part of this video is inspired by a video that Neil did from Neptune Couriers a week or so ago, because I thought that's exactly how I think, and he put it really well. So I would recommend you watch his videos. And what he was talking about was, this is my situation. I don't need your help or advice. I'm a big boy, I think is the phrase he used. But I'm just saying, what would you do? And I was thinking, that's a good way of putting it. I don't need any of you to give me advice. I am a big boy. I'll make my own mistakes. I don't mind making mistakes. I'm sharing mistakes as a way of sort of being open and honest, and sort of just basically presenting what I come across. I've never asked for someone to give me advice about my mistakes, but there is a kind of mentality there. And oh yes, so I probably have to again share the knowledge I have that most of my subscribers, according to YouTube, are 50 to 60 and male. So when I think about my audience, I'm kind of thinking about someone that's looks a bit like me, because that's my age bracket. And so the personification of this negative commenter is usually a Generation X male, of which I am one of those. So I don't need to have one of those people telling me how to do things better or differently. I don't need it, but for some reason some people, and it's not most of them, think their job on YouTube is to be the fount of all wisdom and tell people like me what we've done wrong and how to do it better. And they have no idea really what is my background, it's not just me, it's all YouTube, people do YouTube videos. But in this context, you don't know me, you don't know my motivations, you don't know my background. I am pretty transparent about what I do at work, but there's a whole lot of stuff I don't tell you about me and my background, because it's personal and it's none of your business. But and also my mind is different to your mind. I might look like you, a middle-aged, overweight white man, which is all true. I mean, I don't know if that's you. I'm still looking at myself here. That's what I see in myself, and you might see that in yourself. But I might think very differently to you. I might think really differently to you, and I probably do. I think we all think differently to what we are sort of stereotypically look like. So there are some people I think that they've got the answer and feel the need to share that. And And there's a subtle difference, I would say, between sharing what you know, what you've experienced, which is fine, and telling me what to do and telling me I've done something wrong. So, how do you tell the difference? Here's a hint. If you start off your comment saying you're wrong, then you're telling me you're doing it wrong. You're doing the comment wrong. If you start off your comment saying anything that sounds patronising, really, then it's wrong. You maybe think about the way you word it. My advice is this: I always say, "Oh, in my experience, I do this," or when I've come across that, I do this. I'm not saying in that case that I'm now kind of saying you have to do the same as me. I'm just sharing literally how I dealt with a problem that was similar to what you just expressed if you were the YouTuber. So I think that for most people it's just a clumsy way of describing what they're trying to do. They probably think they're being helpful. They probably think they're being wise, and they're kind of sharing something useful. And so the motivation isn't necessarily wrong. It's just the way that some people choose to express themselves is just clumsy, maybe. But I have to accept that some people are deliberately doing it to try to be offensive. So there is a nuance to these comments. And the other thing I wanted to say about this was, if you're going to make a comment on someone's video and it's the first time you comment, why didn't you comment the first time something positive? Maybe even the second time something positive, and then maybe bring in, I wouldn't do it that way, I would do it this way the third time. But if you're commenting, it's another thing to look at. If it's what you do, if you go on someone's YouTube video and every comment you make is negative, think about that in real life. Think about someone come to you, and if you only ever heard them saying negative things to you, would you want to be around that person? People, I think, seem to have forgotten about human communication. When you're with somebody in real life, I think a smile, kind of open body language, listening, they all help to build up a rapport and trust with someone. But you can do the same things via text. You still have to open up some rapport, build some trust. You just do it in a different way. You can't do it visually, you have to do it through the words that you use. Maybe some people don't have the ability to do that. Maybe some people don't think about it. It's something I think about a lot. So, if you're going to say something negative, maybe you should do it when you've built up some sort of rapport and trust with the person that you're talking to. There are people that subscribe to my channel who comment pretty regularly, who, if they wanted to be critical of me, I would listen to that comment and I would take it on board really, I want to say well, that's not the right word, really seriously. Because in the past, they've been positive and they've been thoughtful and they've been sort of sharing stuff. But if all you ever do is write something negative, why should I listen to that? I just get put off by it, like I would do in real life if you're always very negative. So it's not even the message. Someone could say to me, "You did that wrong," and if it was someone I trusted, I would take that on board and listen. If it's someone that I don't know and don't trust, I will ignore it. It could be exactly the same message. So it's just in my view, it's about trying to use this communication tool a bit more cleverly, is that the word? A bit more nuanced. So the negative comments, maybe they're not meant to be patronising, but maybe if you look at them through the eyes of someone you don't know very well, they would be. Yeah, I think that makes sense. What I've said. It's kind of the main things I wanted to say to you. I suppose I want to reiterate just before I go. I can't let him out now. I've got people behind me. So I want to reiterate, I suppose, that I don't have very much negativity, to be honest. I am someone that has quite a thin skin, I would be honest about that, and part of me doing YouTube is about trying to develop a thicker skin. Because I don't really socialise with people much. This is a way in which I can sort of get out there, be heard, get a response, and if it's a negative response, I can kind of deal with that emotionally and logically, and it gives me a way in which I can put these interactions into some sort of context. So by having that experience for the last sort of 8 months now, I kind of understood that people don't mean to be mean, really. Most people don't mean to be mean. It's just a clumsy attempt to be helpful, or actually he's always making a comment that's negative every single time, so why should I listen to a word that he says? Last point, this is what I don't understand. If you don't like the content that a YouTuber produces, and it is all very quite much acquired taste. I mean, I've seen so many different varieties of YouTube content. Mine has a particular style. It's not edited, it's not scripted, it's quite long and rambling. It has some facts about what I've done in a day, my thoughts about what I felt that day, based through my perception with an autistic brain. It is that. It won't be anything else. It's authentically me. It's open and honest. All the things I've said before. So that's what you get with my videos, and I'm not going to change that. I'm going to be consistent. I think I don't see why. Every time I do a job at work, if I'm working that day, I'll do a video for that day, because my memory is so bad I can't remember the following day or the day after what I've done. But if you don't like that content, absolutely fine. Honestly, why would you spend 40 minutes every day listening to this? I mean, if you're on the road, maybe it's useful, maybe it's not. Maybe you find things in what I say that chimes with your life, maybe you don't. If you don't, you just won't listen to my videos anymore. You just do something else. You won't bother being a subscriber, you won't bother listening. So there's going to be naturally, I think, people falling off wanting to comment negatively because they just won't listen to the videos because they don't like them. But what is it about people that don't like the videos that then watch the videos and comment on them and say they don't like them or don't like what I said? I mean, I'm about 135 videos in now. If you don't like them, don't watch them. But again, all YouTubers have had the same attitude. Why would you comment negatively on a YouTube video when it's just someone's opinion and someone's perspective? It seems, and this is what I don't understand someone's mindset. Why would? There's a few people that okay. There's probably 2 people, 3 people maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to put a number to it. That I think of as being Captain Hindsight. They'll give me advice based on the facts that I've given them at the end of the day. They'll go back and go, right, you made a mistake there. If you'd gone back to 10 o'clock in the morning and did a different decision, it'd be a different day. Well, of course it would, Sherlock. Of course it would. That's life. If you have hindsight, you can make better decisions. Trying to pretend that you're a clever same-day courier who wouldn't never make that mistake and then commenting negatively on my decisions seems a really weird way of using your time. Anyway, that's the last point I want to make. So Captain Hindsight sort of comments, I find I don't understand them. Do you not understand that you don't know if it's gone wrong until after you've done it? I picked up a job today at 3:45ish. No, picked up a job at 2:45 going to Scotland. Now, I was happy to do that because of my previous experience. I'm now doing that job to Scotland. Along the way, I might have missed my pickup. I might have not known how to get to Wittering. I might have been stuck at the barrier, or the person that might not have been there. I might have, I don't know, might break down even. Who knows, I might break down. I might get lost on the way up. I might not be able to deliver a parcel in time. There's a whole lot of things that could go wrong now. But then, when it goes wrong and I report it and you go, see, if you'd not done that, it wouldn't have gone wrong. Then it's weird. Anyway, my point is, I'm going to report back in 2 days' time on Wednesday about my Scotland trip. And it's either going to sound like it was worth doing or sound like it wasn't worth doing. I don't know yet how it's going to be, but I know that there'll be someone on Wednesday or Thursday when I do the video who'll say, never go to Scotland because you never have money, you can't get back. Like it's Captain Hindsight. I will work hard to try and make this contract work, and I'll hopefully enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy doing Scotland. So what would be the point in, after I give you the results, you then telling me I should go back to Monday and don't take that job? Right, I'm going to stop there because I'm not being very coherent, and if you get what I'm saying, you'll get it. If you don't, I can't make it any clearer. I've got a catchphrase that I'm beginning to think is my catchphrase, and it's not yo-yo, although it is now it. The catchphrase is, it makes sense in my head. I say that quite a lot, or I think it quite a lot. All of what I just said makes sense in my head. If I've expressed it enough that some of you understand, that's all I can do. And those of you that either choose to or can't understand it, I can't reach you anyway. So, I will just finish off by saying, I honestly don't get a lot of negativity. So, all that rant, I don't get a lot of it. But, as I said to you, I am quite thin-skinned, so when I get anything, if I have 10 positive comments and 1 negative comment, it'll be the negative one that I'll think about, which I don't think is unusual just to me, but it is honest and open. It is what I would do. So I suppose I'm going to finish this on, if you do actually care about not being an arsehole, then just think twice about how you word comments on YouTube, and maybe just be a bit more careful about how you comment on people's YouTube videos. Yeah. That's me. If you are one of those amazing, incredible professional driver shippers out there that work as a team, I wish you every success this year and moving forwards. You make this job really pleasant for me to be part of that sort of that sort of industry. Thank you for watching or listening to my video. Farewell, friends.